bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gotta be biblical.
That is a bagging intro, isn't it?
That is awesome.
Yeah,
it really is.
Here we are, Patriots across the pond and Frens, episode 2 with Elisa, and today we have Chuck Looney on, the XRP Shaman. So, sorry everyone, we had a few technical issues there, getting everything sorted, but we're here now. Everyone, I say, whoever's watching. How are you guys?
Fantastic.
Good. Well, Chuck, today is our guest show. You have the floor, sir. We're going to sit back and not do a lot, really. So whatever you want to discuss, we'll discuss. And what we're going to talk about today.
Last night, I had the pleasure to speak with Elisa, and we talked about what we talk about tonight, or today, actually. And doing so, I thought it would be something that was very beneficial for everybody to understand and be shown this, because this is a wealth of knowledge of what we should expect and what we should know. So the first thing that we had talked about, I said, how about we do the Lincoln Looney bloodline thing? And she's like, yes, what a great idea. So we're going to dive into this. This is a very big conglomeration of data that somebody has taken the time to put together to outline the entire Jesus bloodline strain. Yeah. And as we go through this, which Stu, I hope you'll post this so your people can get to it.
Yeah.
And that way, they can look through it after this, because we're not going to even get close to the end of this.
No, I should add this link to my stuff, because obviously I thought we were going to talk about XRP and stuff today, so I'm going to go into the settings and change the title and things like that. So I'll add this link that we're going to go through now.
Stu, it's all connected. You know that.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah.
It totally is. Yes.
And I just want to add, the reason I'm so excited about this topic today is because when we listen or read Q and this is biblical, I mean, how much more biblical can you get than looking at the bloodline, right? And the good and evil, and it all starts to make sense. And I don't want to get ahead of your thing, but I just get really excited because all of this intersects and is related to everything that's going on, the good, the evil, the ethnic cleansing, all this stuff like comes into play because of what you're going to start to explain to everyone.
Exactly.
I was totally amazed when I was learning all about this, and then I stumbled onto this conglomeration of data that was all put together by somebody, and I made sure that I kept it, because in my channel I would post this all the time, showing the bloodline tree and all of that, which is absolutely phenomenal when you look at who's all connected in this. And then you start, go ahead, Stu.
No, sorry, you carry on.
Yeah, so basically in understanding all this, you're absolutely amazed at where this all links back to, which is Lincoln, and it's just mind-blowing.
Okay, so where do we start?
It's immense, is it not?
I'll just say something, because we had one partaking on yesterday, and that was a great show. And I had two questions that I'd written down and wanted to ask him, but one I didn't ask him because, you know, we're just going off on subjects and stuff, as we do, go off on tangents, things like that. But, you know, with all this stuff in the Bible and all this stuff in the Q drops with God wins and it's going to be biblical and all these, you know, put on the armor of God. Are you going to, is there any way in this you will explain how these two things are linked? Does this all come out in this?
Well, as we go through it, and we might have to take one or two of these podcasts to get through it, you know what I mean? Maybe even three. But in doing so, you're clearly going to see the whole bloodline tree and be amazed by what that result's going to show you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Do you want to crack on then? Get it on the screen and.
Yeah, I like how we've set it up so everybody can see it. This is the actual document. This is where it starts. When you initially start this document, because it kind of gets a little funny where it's asking for donations, but just click through that and you'll get to this screen right here. And this is the first part of the this immense, I would say it's like a report, you know, and what they've done is they've built this report inside of a URL, which has everything, all of the YouTube documents, all of the bloodline documents, all of that, all the videos, and it's all basically in there. So if you go through it, I would say it would probably take you about a week just to go through this whole thing, if you were to listen to all of it. So here we go. So as we know, all of this is biblical, every bit of this. We're going to quickly show that how all this relates. Q posted about this, and they put these Q posts that we were shown, like 4465 biblical times. Why do we know that? Let me just say this much too. If people don't realize that we had a major event that happened on September 27, 2024, in which the Star of Jacob appeared for the first time in our sky. And in doing so, you have to go back to look at the prophecy that came out in Numbers 4,000 years ago, in which he taught, in that prophecy, basically, it says, when the Star of Jacob appears, I will tell you who my new King David is, as well as it'll be in a time when men believe they can give birth to babies.
When was this, Chuck?
September 27, 2024 is when the star appeared.
And
now,
when was this and where?
4,000 years ago, and it's in the book of Numbers. I believe it's 9:24, one of those. It's in there. Bo Pelini did a great breakdown on it to where he gives you all of the biblical history and references. I've never wrote them down because I've only listened to it about 100 times. But anyway, in doing so, it also, that on that date, basically, we had the hurricane in Tampa. It then travels all the way to North Carolina in less than 11 hours and dumps 65 feet of water in Asheville, North Carolina. That's what the French Broad River raised, 65 feet. So anyway, who ever heard of a hurricane hitting the mountains? Anyway, that's why I'm going to leave it at that. In doing so, the star appeared that night. Now, God loves to do everything with numbers, and he loves 40. So if we look at 40 days after that star appeared, that's November 5th, and that's when Trump won the election. So basically what I'm telling you is God showed us our new King David with what that in that whole time frame that transpired there. Now, if you also look at that and you go 40 weeks from that date, which was November 5th, it takes us to July 4th. July 4th, we had that massive flood in Texas. 40 weeks after. Again, God is showing us plain as day. So, knowing these things and that this is going to be biblical. It is clearly playing out exactly like Q has showed us. So as we go through this, Rothschild, we know all of this stuff. Q has been teaching us and teaching us and teaching us all about this stuff. Epstein Island, all of it. And this is exactly what we've learned. But as we go into this, what they start to do is show us how it's all linked up, how 17 is important, why the Book of Enoch, Mary Magdalene. I'm a little nervous today, so it's my first podcast. And I would truly want to say this. Thank you, God, for this moment. Go ahead.
Just to let you know, I think when me and Elisa was echoing now, so you talk as much as you can.
Oh, I got you. Okay. All right. So basically, this is something that we really should realize, is that the book of Q was one of the books of the Bible, which are actually teachings from Jesus, from what I understand. I'm trying to get in here so we can get into the bloodline tree, so we can look at that, because this is all part of it. And I'm going to take this down a little bit too, because it is a little blurry. All right, here we go. Who is Patrick Lincoln Looney? That's Patrick Boyer, who we see these posts come across in Twitter. We also see John Fitzpatrick Looney Jr., which is really their name. It's not Lincoln. If you understand what happened there, is the Kennedy family somehow kidnapped the two youngest sons, which were John and Robert, and brought them into their Kennedy, under their Kennedy name. And I feel what they were doing is they knew that they were the bloodline, and they basically kidnapped the children to raise them as leaders, to be the ones that lead the world into destruction using the bloodline family. Do you understand? And that's why I think, go ahead.
We're going to get an echo. So if you could get out of the screen share, like intermittent conversation.
Me?
Who's controlling the? Well, okay, because it's going to drive the listeners crazy if we have that echo, which I don't.
Yeah, I'll do that every time we want to speak. We'll do that.
Okay, we'll just raise our hand. So what I was going to say with what you're saying, kind of postdates what happened with Lincoln, right? So to the best of my knowledge and my research, Lincoln had, I believe, 4 sons. Correct? Abraham Lincoln had 4 sons. I was
under the assumption 3.
Maybe he had 3. I apologize. Yeah. Like I said, but
no, I don't really know.
Okay, so we could research that, or if anybody in the chat knows. But what we know is that one of them did go back to the Middle East, and 2 of them. So maybe from your perspective, if you could, even before we get to Kennedy, where these 2 sons that come from that bloodline, the Kennedy boys, before we get to that and we go back to sort of how did this Middle East connection happen?
So basically, after Lincoln was killed, they shipped the 2 sons back to the, Gaylon Heights area in the Middle East. And they were taken care of by a Santinistan royal family. Okay. And this family, I think, was the family that was killed and taken, they kidnapped the children from that family. Now, that was William, and I forget the second son's name. I used to know it. I do know it, but I didn't have a lot of time to research this morning because of all the stuff that was going on. But anyway, in doing so, William changed his name to Omar Mokhtar. Okay, Omar Mokhtar was a fearless rebel fighting for humanity in a way. And he was captured in 1933 on September 15th and was hung on September 16th. Now, let's take him back a little bit. I want to just give you, he changed his name again to Omar Mokhtar. But if you remember in the 1971, there was a movie that came out about Omar Mokhtar, and it was a guy by the name of, hold on. He was the guy that, same name of the guy that bombed the AT&T tower. What was his name? It slips me for a second. Anyway, that guy's name, what was his name? Hold on, it's right here. They'll show us. It's in here. Boy, there's some connections in these pictures. Woo, woo.
He was referred to as the Lion of the Desert, right? That was
right. Yep.
That was the story and the movie, if you will, that talked about it. And he was actually, considered a national hero in Libya, right? So Libya was kind of that area that they went back to. Yeah.
So Omar Mokhtar, and his name was, oh gosh. Anyway, so he changed his name.
Mohammed bin Farhad al-Manifi?
No, the guy that bombed the AT&T towers on Christmas Day. Remember that? Anthony Quinn Warner. Thank you. Right. So Anthony Quinn was the guy that basically played the role in the Lion of the Desert, and it was produced by Warner Brothers. So the name of the guy that blew up the tower on Christmas Day, the AT&T tower, his name was Anthony Quinn Warner.
Nothing is random. Everything.
Nothing is random. And if anybody hasn't seen that movie, it's quite touching. It's actually disturbing, because he was such a man of God, and they hang this man. Not to kill the end of the movie if you haven't seen it, but you kind of know it's history. And and it was, so continue. But that movie always bothered me severely.
I think that whole bombing of the AT&T, because that was a direct energy weapon that hit it, by the way. And later down the road, they were showing us the videos from far away of that direct energy weapon hitting the AT&T building. It wasn't the RV that was out front, okay? It might have blew up too, okay, which I'm sure it did. But I think it was a white hat, in your face kind of moment to them, right back at you.
I remember that. I remember that vividly. How long ago was that? It's about
about 4 years ago. We woke up to that. Yeah.
It was a crappy old white RV, wasn't it? And everyone's talking about white operations and stuff at the time. Because wasn't there an audible warning as well going off before?
Right. He was playing it real loud from the RV. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Brilliant. Okay.
Not to digress. What was actually, what is it rumored that was in that building?
Well, that's where the servers were that were going to wipe us out, by the way, because of so, yeah.
Okay.
It is all tied together.
So Lincoln has these sons. Now, by the way, while you were talking, just for, we're on the subject all the time of censoring and all that. If you go to Wikipedia, of course, they talk about his 3 sons. They just lived, and one died this way and one died that way. And there's no real mention of this, I guess, behind the scenes of what was really going on. Right. And that they went back and then changed his name. And then he had heirs.
Well, basically, from what I understand, he had a daughter. And that daughter married a Looney, which is the bloodline family. And they had children, which was John and Robert. I think they were attacked or murdered. I'm not sure. I think Kennedy talked about his father being murdered. Am I right? Mm-hmm. John did. Yeah. So in that aspect, and I'm sure there'll be other people that will help to put all that together for us. From all we know is what we've read here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So in doing so,
Well,
think
Chuck,
that's
if you
why.
look at if people do research and, awaken to research, and they realize that when you look at the bloodline families, Kennedy is one of them
Yes,
in
they
all
is.
those
In
lists
fact,
of names and things like, right, with the Warburg and all that. So you kind of wonder, right, if you're just sitting there and you're thinking about the Kennedys, and especially John F. Kennedy Sr., and how he was trying to, you know, thwart and go against, the powers that be in the CIA and break all that up. And then you say, but that's one of the bloodline families. So now we are realizing through this like beautiful document and these other things that was he really, so that's what we're realizing, that his lineage comes from a very different one.
Yeah.
in this whole thing, I've realized that good and even evil has been present since the beginning of time.
Yeah. Oh,
And
gotcha.
Of course.
we always hear about the evil, but we don't hear about the good until now.
This is
Right.
why I think a lot of people are struggling with the fact that they don't think we have a benevolent force fighting for us behind the scenes, which is why I'm so into Q and all these things. When I tell them things about people capitulating and being made to do humiliation rituals, and Keir Starmer over here, he's not in control of anything. He's the Biden show, here, what they were doing with Biden then to wake people up. I'm sure of it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So as you go through this document, here's all the 13 families, the evil families, what we call the elites.
Do you want to put that back on the screen, Chuck? Because what
Sure.
we do, we have a chat, we just wave our hands and I'll take it off screen. So I'll put it back on.
Okay, so basically another thing that we can look at is, like, again, look, Great says good versus evil, because that's exactly what's happened since the beginning of time. God has been fighting this war since the beginning. They're all related. So as we go through this more, we see more of the bloodline families, and there's their real names as we see them, but what their real names are. Of course, the Ocedes, the DuPont family. Yeah, okay. Didn't they have something happen in India years back where tens of thousands of people were killed because of a gas leak? Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's all right. I just want to say, because I was going to say before that, isn't there two sets of bloodline families? Like there's the real bloodline family, and
that's what this is showing. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so which is there
what,
one?
What I'm saying, what they're saying to us here is, these people right here are all controlled by these people over here, or they're the same people. That's their new name, but there's their old name as well. You follow me?
Right.
So that's what they were.
Right.
So the Arsenis are the DuPonts that we know now, and the Freeman are there you go. Kennedys were just like that. That's exactly how they've showed us. Yeah, they go way, way back, people, way back. So as you go through this, it teaches you everything about what we've been experiencing, what we've went through, everything. I'm really trying to get down to, this is very important, ISIS. This was 1776. ISIS was truly formed. And there's the 50 countries that have put their stamp. And this was all to basically get rid of the bloodline family, the Druze bloodline family. And if you looked at what was going on currently, they talked about these Muslim people killing the Druze, even now. Some of the things that we get shown, they talk about the Druze are being killed.
Yeah.
Here's the entire timeline. ISIS was formed back then.
I actually found something interesting.
Go ahead.
So if you would indulge, I can read this, and Chuck, tell me from a lot of what you're going to talk about if this fills in some of these gaps. the Druze have existed holding the same beliefs that they exist in now since time eternal, and not only for the 1,000 years they were known historically as Druze. The evidence of such existence is lately confirmed by the discovery of an exact match between the Druze DNA and Christ's DNA. The Druze of the Levant are acknowledged on an official level to be true descendants of Jesus Christ. The Druze preserved their ancient Gnostic descendants through strict marital laws, which they passed on from one generation to another and which they still practice to this day and age. Abraham Lincoln was Abraham Kaluni of the Druze bloodline from the line of Davidic kings and descendants of Jethro, the priest of Midian in the Bible and the Torah, Exodus 2:18. They descend from the Druze ethnic minority that inhabited the Golan Heights area of Israel, from the town of Kinetara and Majal, Shams, and before that the towns of Kelunia in Mount Lebanon, which is about 45 kilometers southeast of Beirut. Abraham Lincoln had 4 children with wife Mary Todd Lincoln, Robert Todd Lincoln, William Wallace Lincoln, Edward Baker Lincoln, and Tad Lincoln, 2 of which were sent to Libya to live. They didn't die as recorded. These were William Wallace Lincoln and his brother Tad Lincoln. William Wallace was brought to Benghazi, Libya, in 1863. They changed his identity and was raised by the Senussi royal family of Libya, living in that country for the rest of his life. William became known as Omar Mukhtar, the biggest figure in Libyan history. They have towns, streets, and town squares named after him all over Libya. The great freedom fighter who fought against the Italian military invasion of Libya from 1911 until his arrest near Kavs Valley, 180 kilometers east of Benghazi on Friday, 11th September 1931, when he was defending those holy valleys of Marcus and Evangelist, Valley of the Bible, and Mary's Lake in the region of Serene, 280 kilometers east of Benghazi. He was transferred to face trial on Tuesday, 15th September 1931, held by the Italian military tribunal in Benghazi. The trial ended in just one day. He was sentenced to death and was hung on Wednesday, 16th September 1931, age 81, in the town of Suffolk, 50 kilometers south of Benghazi, Libya. William had 3 daughters, this is what you were saying, and 1 son, Sadeya, Gelia, and Mary. His only son was taken and shot by the Italian military police in downtown Benghazi in 1942. Mary, William's daughter, met and married a prince, Said Isa H. Kaluni, from Golan Heights, born in the orchards in Mount Lebanon. The family tree of Isa Kaluni is well known in Lebanon, Syria, and Israel. Isa means Jesus. They arrived at the port of Derna in Libya in March 1911. They had 2 boys who were both kidnapped from Benghazi and handed over to mafia boss family Joseph Kennedy, and was raised by him and his wife Rose Kennedy. They would later be known as John F. Kennedy and Joe Kennedy. John F. Kennedy was raised to become the 35th president of the United States. He is not a Kennedy. He is a Lincoln Kaluni. John married Jackie Kennedy and had 4 children: Arabella Kennedy, John F. Kennedy Jr., Patrick Kennedy, and Caroline Kennedy. Patrick and Arabella didn't die as recorded. Patrick Kennedy was flown to Libya. Joe Kennedy, President John F. Kennedy's brother, was Michael and Charles Flynn's father. Tad Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln's son, was Donald Trump and Elvis's grandfather. Now you understand Trump's fascination with Lincoln. And I'll go on to read just this very short last paragraph, but I think this leads into what you're going to talk about with the bloodline map and that beautiful thing. Elvis Trump, Assange, Julian Assange, Lincoln Kaluni, JFK, Joseph, John F. Kennedy Jr., and Patrick are all Lincoln Kaluni and are cousins. All of them are direct descendants of Jesus Christ's bloodline. So Joseph, we were told Kennedy died as a military hero in the Second World War. So now we're being told he never really died either. And if he could father two sons, right? So who they say is, Michael Flynn and his brother. So that might just give a little bit of the history to help us go into that map that you have and clarify some of the names. But clearly we could see, like you were saying, Chuck, you have good and evil. And so this bloodline, Kennedy, whatever the original name was, because we know that these people changed their identities through history, right, to show themselves as something different. And so if that's the case, then yes, those two boys were brought into a bloodline family by force, by kidnapping.
That's amazing what you say as well, because we've seen all those links between Kennedy and Lincoln, Lincoln and the Kennedy, and Kennedy and Lincoln. Do you know what I mean?
Even those assassination, the vice president, the name's the same, like all those things that when we grew up were coincidences, right?
So it just a couple of days ago, I posted something to the channel. It was Dan Scavino, and we talked about it last night, in which they were talking about how Trump and Elvis look alike. Did you get I didn't get to find it either. Did you find it? That video?
Did I find
the one about?
No.
Yeah. Okay. I'll look. All right. So what I put on the screen was the actual blood line tree.
Yeah. I've just done a very quick bit of research. Echo issues when sharing the screen in StreamYard can occur due to feedback loops within the audio chain. The common cause is when the audio from the screen is picked up by the microphone, creating an echo. This can happen if the participants are not wearing headphones. So now I sort of possibly understand why loads of people I watch podcasting are all sitting there with headphones on.
Yes, I get it.
Just for future reference, if we have to look into that.
We need to switch.
Wrong. But yeah,
and on your what is it called, Focusrite interface, it gives you mic adapters.
Right. Okay.
Right.
We'll look into that. Right. But I'll put your screen back on, Chuck, and it's all yours again.
Okay, brother. So when I first discovered this and looked through this, now I will tell you, if you go through this whole thing, it's also got all the stuff about Ron White. You know who he was? It Ron? No. The guy that found where Moses crossed the Red Sea. Ron Hyatt. He was anyway. He found where the covenant is. He found where they crossed the Red Sea. All of that stuff's in here. Before this bloodline tree, you see here.
Ron Wyatt.
Wyatt, thank you. Phenomenal. I just shake my head at what he did. Anyway, he also found where supposedly found the covenant underneath where Jesus was sacrificed. And supposedly the blood ran down the cross, ran into the crack, and dripped on top of the covenant. And when he found the covenant, he noticed that there was blood on it, and he had that blood tested, which all of that videos are in there. And in doing so, he discovered that the blood was alive, and there was only 23 chromosomes. Yeah. Quite remarkable. Let's see so anyway, in doing so, it just, like I said, this thing is immense as far as how much information's in it to teach you. So if we look at this chart right here, as we can see, it's Lincoln and Mary up at the top, and then basically you see, I believe, their children. Is that how this works?
Yeah. Can we make that bigger?
Yeah, let me try. It's going to blur it out as far as the names, but I'll do that. How's that?
Yeah, great. Yeah, great.
Okay. So I can't see any of the names because I have it blown up so big. It's blurred it all out. But we can recognize faces, okay? And if we look over to the right here, we see Patton right here.
I'm going to put us at the bottom for a second, see if I can make it. That.
And you see who's underneath Mr. Patton right there. DJT, our man, which was his true father.
Yeah.
And if you look here, you can see the Kennedys and who all they had, all the kids they had. I believe that one right there to the right, the second to the left, that's Boyer. And then you see, yeah, and then you see John's kids right under it, which is Kaylee McEnany, Ezra Cohen Watnick, and the other brother, which I believe is a rugby star. There's one more person in this list, by the way, that they're not putting here, which is, I believe, Jesse Waters. Okay. Yeah. So, and then you can see the Trump clan right there. There's all the Trump kids. To the left, we have Flynn and his father. Now, one you're not seeing in here is Elvis. Was Elvis in here too? No, it's not. They don't show it in this bloodline tree, but he's part of it. And who else is there? Julian Assad. He's part of them too. Go ahead, Stu.
No, I was just saying,
yeah, go Julian. So, in understanding all of this, now you can kind of see how this is all tied together from a biblical aspect. They've been fighting this war for a long time. Long time. We've never seen the other side because we were controlled. They controlled all the media. We would never see how they would be progressing through this whole thing. But now we're in a state where we're getting to see that.
Yeah.
So here's basically when you could go down, you can see all the bloodline tree right here, which is more in depth. It shows all of the kids and everything. So and their dates, when they were born, everything. Here we go. Here's Presley. Here's Elvis on the left-hand side. Aaron, Elvis Presley. There's Julian Assange. Oh, who else was part of this was Mussolini. Him and Patton were brothers. Crazy.
I think Gaddafi's in there as well.
So let's see here. Where's okay, look, here we go. There's actually 5 kids if you look at the JFK kids, right? Kaylee, Ezra, Josh, and then they give us 2 question marks because they don't want us to know.
Yeah.
Got Chanel Ree on there.
Yeah, this is just blows my mind.
So a few things. I'll get rid of the echo for one second. I think for anybody who hasn't, like a lot of us have seen bits and pieces of this, right? And I'm sure people that know even more than what we're talking about right now. But one of the things that people, I think there's such cognitive dissonance. Like I know I've talked to people about this. I'm sure you have too. And they look at you like you're crazy. You're out of your mind. What are you talking about? That's so absurd. But, if we think about it, we have to also think of another figure who was part of this, maybe not part of the bloodline, but we have Nikola Tesla, who played a really important role in all of this as well, because what we know is that Donald Trump was raised, by Fred Trump, his mom. And Fred Trump's brother, John Trump, worked at MIT, and he was a very brilliant, very brilliant scientist, and worked with Tesla, or at least they gave him Tesla's books and his research and everything when supposedly he died. Tesla, that is. And so you have that connection of this other family that's so good, that took Donald Trump, right, and raised him as their own. And John Trump, who would be Donald Trump's uncle, his son is Julian Assange, right? So we see how that kind of all comes together. And some of these things are very uncanny, because if you hold up a picture of General Patton and Donald Trump, I mean, take the hair off Donald Trump. I mean, it's a spitting image. And the same is true of Julian Assange and John Trump, right? And you have this whole group of these good guys that have just been fighting and sacrificing so much, through the decades, behind the scenes, which nobody knows about. And obviously, if we're knowing about a lot of this and this was published, it's allowed to be published, right? I mean, they want it to get out. They want people to understand the good forces, because they've been censored, right? Maybe not the way we think of censorship today on the internet, but all the censorship that took place years ago for anybody to know this information. And there's just so much more to it that we probably don't know. Like, there's those 2 question marks, right? So there's still questions about what's really going on and who's behind it. And when we think about the Q movement, right, we know that a lot of that can be traced back to Lincoln's time, but of course, I'm sure it goes further back. Like you said, there's the book of Q in the Bible. But this whole movement that took place after Kennedy's assassination, and of course, there's a lot of questions surrounding that too, right? Was he assassinated? Did they, right? And that's a whole other rabbit hole and show to go into. But the point being that we need to understand, and people need to understand, that there was so much going on behind the scenes with these good guys, or as we call them, the white hats, and through the years, what they've had to do to infiltrate and break through these systems that were put in place that brought us to where we are, where we're trying to wake people up to what's really been going on.
It's funny that all of this stuff has just been kind of pumped out to us in the last, 6 years? Now, and most people had no exposure to any of this. You know what I mean? I know when I saw this and started looking at it, it was no doubt real to me. I understood what was happening. I understood what was going on. I understood that this was a fight for humanity. You know what I mean? I'll never forget a Newsmax. It was late at night. They showed this clip of a guy out of Minnesota was getting fined $500 a day for flying a sign that said 2020 Trump and JFK Jr. And he went and bought a bigger flag because he said, and he owned a sign company. So he had those big cranes. And he put a flag on it, sticking at, 800 or 100 feet in the air. And it said Trump and JFK Jr. as for president, 2020. And Newsmax asked him, well, why did you have that sign to say JFK Jr.? And he said, people got to know the truth. And I saw it at 3:00 in the morning in my office. And I immediately started just bawling, because I realized that God's got this. You follow me?
Yeah.
And it was just a very powerful moment for me, because I knew he was real. You know what I mean? And somebody be that proud to put that out there and be on Newsmax. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a moving moment.
We've all had moments like that.
I know. I'm having a lot lately. I don't know what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Have either of you experienced lately, we're talking about all this stuff, I find myself getting really emotional for no reason. Like I'll just hear a quote, or I'll see a meme, or I'll read a story, and I don't even know where it's coming from. It's like something is like just there that's touching the truth, and it just resonates. And I find myself feeling so, like what you were just talking about. I could have gone full on crying about that, but there's just something that connects, like it kind of bypasses the intellect and goes right through to the heart,
Right to the
that we're
heart.
feeling something. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of those moments myself. How about you, Stu?
Yeah, well, I don't really get upset and well up over sad things. It's the happy things. It's the things like that. And
Yes.
it's almost like you said, Elisa, it goes straight to the heart.
Right to the heart.
Mhm.
It does. I'm getting moments right now, just that energy's flowing right in me, because it's true.
Whoever we are, whether we've volunteered to come back here as our future selves, and all these discussions and stuff, and finding yourself awakening, and then finding other people that are awakening and stuff, and all those other people are fighting this battle and stuff like that. It's an emotional thing, isn't it? And it's a happy
It really is. Yep.
thing to find your soul family almost.
Because it's
Yeah,
like
it's great.
it's like going home. That's like, what's home, right? It's home.
And also, it's like, I think we all feel that we're getting near the end. The revelation, the awakening, the red pills. We can feel it.
It's crazy. I'm glad I'm involved with this. I'm glad I'm not asleep and I'm awake. By the way, I slept in Staying Alive last night again. It's phenomenal.
And
Slept like a baby. I felt energized. You can feel the charge when you get up. It takes you a little time to get over that. You know what I mean? But by the time I got home, I was feeling okay. Yeah, it's remarkable. Really is.
I agree. You have to get Stu there.
What's that?
Yes.
The Smells Healing Centre, yeah?
Yeah, I was there, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I
So,
was saying to Ron last night, when we finished, me and Ron chatted for about another 20 minutes, half hour. And
sure, no problem.
yeah,
Yeah.
once we've gone through the storm, the shit storm, whatever's coming and stuff like that, and we settle over the other side, I am coming to the States, for sure. I always said about 2014, 2012, there's no way I'm fucking going to America, right? Because of what's going on. There's no way, because I knew sort of what was coming and stuff like that. But I will be at some stage.
You got a place to stay here, brother. Come on.
Yes.
Wonderful.
We got it.
Beautiful to hear.
So, as well as myself, I travel to London a lot because I have a daughter that lives there.
Yeah.
Yep. Not impressed at all. People in London they're very asleep. They have no clue what's going on in the world.
No, well, there's, we've been trying to wake people up to Keir Starmer and Sadiq Khan and stuff, but these, reports coming out lately that the national newspapers here are coming out with these, involved in the cover-up of these rape gangs and things like that. So these things are being dripped out all the time, but we know the end game.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Darkness is being pushed into the light, and people are starting to, even though a lot of people won't speak out about it, they can see what's happening. And I know the things that the crazies were saying years ago might actually be true. It's good.
Have you been called crazy lately?
No, not lately. I just get ignored. Yeah. Do you want to go back to this chat?
Elisa, what do you got there, sweetie?
Oh, all I was going to say is I think they've moved from like calling us crazy to just ignoring us. I mean, they run out of steam, because before they had an awful lot of energy to go off on us and what we were saying. I think they don't have the energy anymore, so they just ignore us and
and with all the stuff that's coming out about this, yeah. When you talk to them about that and they're hearing these things, it's like they turned off a light bulb in their head. They don't even want to hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, because they, I think what it's doing is just showing them how wrong they were and they shouldn't have never done it. You know what I mean? And they won't admit it to themselves yet. But there's going to come a point in time where it's going to happen.
Yeah, everyone's going to have that moment. But also, don't forget, it's not just the fact that I had that. A lot of people are thinking, what have I got in me? You know?
Exactly, yeah.
But, I mean, even on Telegram, I started my channel January, we all got booted off Twitter on January the 7th, day after J6. At the end of Telegram, we'd all migrate, that month, we'd all migrated from our channels and Twitter and stuff like that, found Telegram, and then I was on there for about a year, and then I set up a Regretniks group, which is private, and I started piggybacking everything I was posting on Telegram into this private group. All Dr. Brian Ardis and, Peter McCullough and everyone talking about cures and healing and what you can do and all these sorts of things. I've got about 117 posts in there now, and people that ask me, I put them onto this group. There's so much information there, or I talk to people about all this stuff, but people they don't want to ask, and it's really, really sad because it's so much. I mean, even us lot that haven't been. We're all taking NAC and all sorts of things, and we've got to maintain our own health, eating better food.
That's right.
That's what we're
and let's not forget
going on and things.
The recent one, but let's remember, there's a lot of people in the awakened community who became awakened, let's say 6 years ago, 8 years ago, even 10 years ago, or I'm not talking about the ones who've been awake forever, that really went through the storm of everybody thinking them crazy. Right. But if you go back to our childhoods and how many of us did get that, we didn't get the most recent one, but we got other ones. I mean, I will tell my own personal story. When I was being wheeled into, I don't know if it was the day before, I went for pre-op for my C-section, and I was not awake. I was not like a big pharma person, but I was not awake the way I was. This goes back 20 something years. And they said, oh my gosh, your titers are very low for, I think it was chicken pox, whatever that's called, varicella. Oh my God. And the baby can get really sick from this, and you can pass. Now, I'm like about to be a new mom. I'm frightened of everything. First time mom, right? So what are you thinking? Well, my doctor knows what he's talking about. Like even if I didn't quite agree, I'm going in for an operation now. There's certain So I think many of us have done things that we regret, whether it's ourselves or with our children, before it became, because it was so censored, because the media was, trying to tell everyone how important it was. So I think we probably have two groups now, those who said, years ago, I made some choices and did some things that I would never do today. And then there's the ones that made the most recent choices, and maybe have regret. I'm talking about the ones that are awake. The bottom line is, overall, we have to remember that the most powerful thing we have is our own consciousness and control that our mind has over our bodies, and the spirituality that we have in the connection to God. And I think if we did things with a naive view, okay, or we didn't know, or we were put into such a fear mode that we couldn't think straight, I don't think anyone should have bad regret and feel frightened, because that just keeps you in that controlled state. We need to just accept what we've done and accept that our mindset, our spirituality, our connection to source, to God, is going to override a lot of that. And we have the power to do that. That's my own belief, because I don't think anybody who made decisions should feel fearful. This regret that literally takes them down, regret maybe that you make a new decision, but not regret. And I think everyone should really feel that they did what they did when they did it because of certain reasons. And if they're starting to awaken and see things differently and have their eyes more open. So we don't know. I guess my whole point is, we don't know what the effects are on any of us who did things years ago, or had maybe didn't have choices because we were kids, or, and it's just, it is what it is. But the awakening process is to make us take that control back so that it doesn't happen again.
It's funny you bring that up, because yesterday I was contacted by my son. He informs me that very close friends of ours' mother passed away yesterday with turbo cancer. They had checked her because something wasn't right with her 4 weeks ago. Did complete blood work. Nothing was found in the blood work scan. She went back home. The son said she was just not acting right, so he took her back to the hospital. They did a complete blood scan again, and she turned out to have stage 5 cancer. 3 days after that, she went comatose, and she just died. 3 weeks.
Awesome. But let me tell you something, and I don't know if you guys agree with me. I think I've had conversations like with each of you about this. How do we know where that really came from? Like,
right.
A lot of this
I agree with
that
you.
we were given, it's time released. And is it just supposed to look like it was this last one, or was it because of all these previous things? Like, we won't know, but logically, if you use thinking, it makes sense. And that's why this whole thing is just so evil, because it was a plan that they've always had to use that as a way of getting rid of a lot of us, or making us so sick that it funds the big farm and these other industries.
Let me ask you a question. If you wipe out everybody, okay, kind of what they were planning.
Well, 90%.
Right.
The rest were slaves.
Yeah, that's right. Which I heard were going to come from the Asian area because they're
less assertive, or they're more compliant,
right.
and, have that kind of demeanor.
Right. So we wouldn't have been on the list. Sorry. Yeah, it's crazy. So it's been a plan for a long time. Go ahead.
So did you want to continue with that? Is there more? We went through that beautiful chart.
Yes.
And where is
continue,
the
but we
document that you're talking about?
What's that now?
Where is the the one that we're looking at when you put it on screen? Is that accessible, for people to go and research and read?
I put it into the WhatsApp for our chat.
I'll tell you what I can do. Yeah, I can do that. I can get that on the screen but I'll let you go back through this for a little bit more.
I figured had seen a lot of stuff that's about this, but we can continue. As we see, that goes into the whole story about the Lincolns and the Kennedy kids being taken. Here's more stuff about the movie Lion in the Desert, which was all tied to it.
I'll just put the link on the bottom of the screen there, chat.
There you go. That way people can go through this, because it will take a while. It's very big, especially if you start playing all the videos. If you look at they go through the whole blood type stuff too, and what they're showing you with that should stand out to you very, like, give you a big, why are there NH bloodlines? The negatives. So what we're seeing right there are two different people. We're seeing JFK's clone or replacement, which happened to be a guy that was a sheriff in Dallas. It's another subject, okay? It's really deep. In fact, they're going to show us that picture of him and JFK in this. That was his look-alike. And look what they put at the bottom. The kangaroo. We've seen this picture in many Q drops. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's Trumpy loving on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. His uncle. Yeah. Amazing. The man that made it happen.
Mm-hmm.
let's get down here. I want to get to, like I said, it's very, very in depth. Shows us everything, all about it. So I want to get down here. Let me see if I can move down to this. Oh, just want to get down to, keep going. Hold on. I want to show you something. Look, there's Omar Mokhtar and his daddy. And oh, looky there. Tesla, Johnny Boy, JFK, and oh crap, I'm sorry. Our friend. Looky there. Who's at a Trump rally? That's our boy right there. You know that they actually did the whole analysis of the plane too. They were the ones that did the investigation. Him and Junior and his wife. That's them right there in that picture.
Can I just say, I've mentioned this to Elisa before, that I found this video now, but there was a video that came out a while ago. It took me ages to resource it. I have got it in a hard drive somewhere, but I'd find it again. There's a picture of Trump walking down the White House lawn towards Marine One, and then two people walk behind him, and the reporters are going, John.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that video, have you?
Yes, I have.
Yes. Yeah. And
I also seen the one that Nancy drew. Do you know her?
Yeah. When she was, I mentioned this to Elisa, when she's standing there, Trump and Kennedy are leaving, hold traffic on the avenue. That one.
Yeah.
Those are two moments, like we were talking about before, when I've just gone, like watching Robert David Steele go, make the deal, motherfucker, or you were going to die. It's excellent.
What we've been shown over these last 5 years and 6 years has been absolutely mind-blowing. No wonder why we're addicted to it, because we're getting to see it happen. You know what I mean? We're actually getting to understand what's happening in this world.
And it's like putting a puzzle together.
It is. Exactly. Well, let me just say this much. Q was that puzzle. That's what kept everybody interested, was allowed by putting this little figure it out thing. Because at first, when they tried to do this, people would stay engaged for about 2 weeks, and they had to go pay the bills. You know what I mean? So until they started the Q thing, where it was kind of a figure it out and gave it a little bit of puzzle to it, that's when it took off. I knew Q was real when it was 2020, and there was the 2021 actually. I knew it before that, but there was the Q post where it says GameStop in the Q post, and that post was done on October 27, 2018. Exactly 3 years from that post is when GameStop went ballistic on 2021, October 27. I mean, and we understand the deltas, you know what I mean? And we didn't really know that back in the beginning, you know what I mean? And it was like, exactly 3 years? Come on.
You know what I question? Like, and maybe, I don't know, I guess.
Uh-oh, we lost her.
I think she's got a bit of a stuttery internet there.
Oh, am I back?
Yeah, you are back.
Oh, okay, cool. You know what I find interesting, though? I find interesting, and I was talking about this like ever so slightly with Melissa Redpill this morning. I did an interview with her, and we were saying how, that whole idea of the 144,000, right, that are coming in, that are awakened, and like, how did we find this? Like, there's so many people out there, and they don't know about this. What is it that led us all to seek this out, or just not even seek it out? Somehow we found it. You know what I mean? Like, I know all of us had our journeys, but it amazes me that we're sitting here, and there's so many others, right, on the internet now that do shows and pattern recognitionist and, crazies, that we're all part of the same soul family. But it's just amazing. And so that begs the question, are we really on the same or different timelines? Because we found certain things that anybody, quote, could have found. But why did we find it? What made us get drawn into, talking about all this kind of stuff and questioning it, and, putting our voices out there and getting thrown off Twitter and getting, having to go to Telegram, and then getting all more people that we're talking about, and, following Q. And to me, it's a very amazing thing, because we are, and I don't mean this in a judgmental way, I mean in a difference. How come we found this stuff, but others didn't? And it's like, were we supposed to? It's a little rhetorical. Were we supposed to? Is that what our mission was, to come here because we were being shown or had the ability to find it, so that we could help to educate and enlighten other people, because the ultimate goal is to raise our vibration and ascend, and have this much better way of living, this beautiful way of life. But I just think about that sometimes. Like, I don't know, it doesn't even go anywhere. I'm just like, how come I knew about this? Like, how come people I see in the stores and they just buy all this shit on, in the supermarket, and I'm sitting there like, it's none of my business. I want to go, why are you buying that? Do you know what's in it? Or, did you hear today? Or people talk about the weather. I'm like, oh, come on. Like, I want to say, oh, come on. You really think that was a storm? And we kind of like are living in this kind of tortured state all the time, but it really is a different timeline.
Have you seen the volunteers video? Those two girls talking telepathically to each other?
No.
Well, I was going to set an outro video. I've got that here. I might put that at the end. It's 7 minutes long if you want to watch that at the end. But it is.
Yeah, we can do that.
What you were just saying there. Yeah, it's really quite interesting.
Right?
So I think
and then we all found each other.
Do you hear me?
We had to. We all used to do that. I can't think of anything worse now. I've been cutting my own hair since COVID. Right? I did a live haircut on Facebook. Right? And I thought, I've done an all right job there. That's why I started wearing hats, actually. Just in case you got stuff out there and a bit up here like that. But, I forgot what I was going to say. I've lost my train of thought there. Oh, yeah. But I can't imagine anything worse now than going and sitting in the hairdressers, getting me a haircut and wait to get me a haircut because of the chat. I don't want to do it.
Right, because it's worthless, petty stuff.
Yeah.
There's nothing real to it. You know what I mean?
No.
I do believe we're chosen. I do. I think there's a little...
And there's a big responsibility that goes with that.
Yeah, listen, I say, is it a curse or is it a blessing,
Right.
Right, but it is a blessing, okay? It's just because we feel the way we do, sometimes we don't know what God's got in store for us, And then we finally realize, and we're like, oh, okay. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. It always turns out good, does it not?
Love not fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair. But I will say one thing. I think this ties in tremendously with, well, obviously we know it ties in tremendously with the financial system, right? Which is a whole little conversation we can go into. However, I think it also ties into humanitarian, because as we've come through this storm, we've gone through what we've gone through, trying to, not comply in so many ways, trying to educate people and, getting crazy looks or losing friends or family or whatever it is. At the end of the day, what are we supposed to do? We're trying to heal, right? I think that's what we all are. We're healers, because we're either healing in trying to bring the truth so people can connect with that very important part of themselves, right? That sovereign self that is in control and doesn't have to be controlled. But then what about all the other physical things, that we're trying to teach people how to heal physically, and solutions and ways. So it's not just about oh, we're chosen to know this stuff. We're chosen to really help humanity. I mean, for those of us who take this seriously.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Stop, and that's where we go one, we go all is all about.
So, Stu, just to kind of clarify something, I don't call say where we go one, we go all anymore. I call it the Looney battle cry, where we go one, we go all.
Okay. I'm going to do that as well.
There you go. You'll get attention.
Right. And isn't it, no, most people don't know that was on the bell of Kennedy's ship, you know, like that was written on the bell of his ship. So there's all these connections.
Well,
I am so glad to be awake.
White Squall, wasn't it?
What?
Go ahead.
Have you seen the film White Squall?
A long time ago.
Yeah, that's all about. Have you never seen that, Elisa?
No.
Yes.
White Squall?
Jeff Bridges.
2012.
Jeff Bridges, he's a yacht captain and he's got a team of young men and all that. That's where we go one, we go all. Yeah.
I've seen the clip, like, you know, like that little clip, like on TikTok, but I never saw the movie. So next movie. Hey, can we like go a little bit into the financial and the XRP and that kind of stuff, Chuck, and how you see all of this connecting?
Have we finished with that?
I'm going to say this much to you so I can put it very simply. We're already using it. They haven't told us yet. And every green circle and check mark you get in your transactions is running on the XRP ledger.
That is beautiful to hear.
It's already happening. They just haven't told them.
Let me ask you a question. If that's true, like, okay, if I send a Zelle or it's like I don't even breathe and it's gone through. However, how do we explain when you still go and deposit a check and it still takes 2-3 days? Is that because they're holding it and trading it and getting interest the way they used the old game, or is it just because it's part of the
old system?
The old system.
Mm-hmm. But if I deposit checks, they're there the next day. So I don't know about that.
Mine take almost 48 hours.
Do they really?
Yeah, like I'll get, like, let's say I deposit a check, just use numbers, you know, $100 or something. Maybe like 20 of it will be immediate. And then I got to wait another, whatever it is, 24, 40, usually 2 business days for the balance $80 to show up in my account. But I don't know if that's because it's like Swift meets new system and it's just,
it might be the fact that it is a check.
Okay. But also, don't forget that they would do that. They would keep that the same because they don't want people to know. They don't want people to question. Hold on a minute, why's my check gone through?
Right, exactly.
Because it's so old out, they're not ready to alert the people yet for whatever public switchovers they have.
It was funny. I forget some channel I popped in today. I think it was one of your guys' channel. I saw this guy that had posted stuff about Bitcoin. He said it's going to be $200,000. And I thought to myself, okay, so we're going to go from, even if it goes from 120,000 to 200, you've got what, a 70% gain in your money? Why would you put your money in Bitcoin? It's got to go all the way to 200,000 to get a 70% gain. You understand? XRP at $2.50 or whatever it is right now. If it goes to $5, you double your money, which it's going to. Right now, what's happening, so you understand, is we're running a decentralized test ledger on the Ripple ledger right now that is totally independent from the decentralized ledger. So the XRP ledger can run multiple ledgers, private, public. And what they've done is they've created a test ledger running our current bank system. We don't know what XRP is on that because it's being used to transfer money on that system. But we see the decentralized $2.50 price. We don't see We do sometimes see these bleed over prices, which you hear about that. 9,000, 5,000, 250,000. You've heard all the numbers and seen them. Just recently we had one pop through. And so why are they doing that? Because they haven't flipped the switch. They're still running the old system. At what point, when is that going to happen? We've always heard of that 10 days of darkness. Some think we're in it now. I don't know. I don't really worry about that anymore because I know it's going to happen, and I understand what we own, which is basically the native token to the new accounting system, because that's what XRP is. That's what the ledger is. Ledger is accounting. So it's an accounting system. And the money that they're using within the accounting system is XRP. They're not using dollars. They're not using yen. They're not using anything except XRP. Now, XRP, to have value, is backed by precious metals, which in this case will be gold. And let me put this up on the screen, Stu, if I can find it.
Yeah, didn't I see a graphic the other day that XRP is backed by gold, XLM is backed by silver, all those sorts of things?
Yeah.
You might have been showing it. It's quite funny because I was speaking to Elisa on Monday, and it was only because I used to follow Whiplash and stuff, but Whiplash used to put so many things out. And I used to hear about it because I used to read Judy Byington's blog and then listen to Restored Republic and stuff like that. And like you just said then, I don't know when it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. So I don't really listen anymore. You just wait. But I listened to Restored Republic again on Monday, and they assured us for the 117th time, probably, that yesterday on the 21st, the EBS was going off. And we were going into 10 days of darkness. So I took it with a pinch of salt, as I have done many, many times. And I was to Elisa, I was going to put some money in the bank today, but I'll go Wednesday, just in case. And I did. I went to the bank and put some money in today.
Stu, if you can click over to this, what I've got on the screen right now. Yeah, there you go. I'm going to try to blow it up more. Okay. Now, I have to inform you that I, back in the day, probably 5 years ago, was given some directions in which to go to this website on Telegram. Right here, if you look, it says, right here by the ISO tile, it says, the name of this website is XX_1133_1221_11. And where that was a Telegram channel. And inside it, there was 750 of these kind of charts to 1,000. I would spend days in there because everything I would look at was just teaching me about all the tokens, how it's going to work. And for about a year and a half, I was able to go to this website, this Telegram channel, which I still have in Telegram, but it's empty. And I would get all of this information, like this chart right here. And the reason I have it is because I took a picture of it and I would use this to teach people about where we were headed. And so I just want to show you here that 1-to-1 XRP right here to an ounce of gold. See that?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. But also look it up top where it talks about stable coins. And the IMF is going to give us an anchor coin, which is a stable coin at a price of cryptocurrency token or pegged to a commodity, i.e. dollar metal asset. And I want you to notice this. It said approved right there. See it? One time Whiplash actually posted this in one of his channels and put an underline on that approved. So it's already approved. This is already done. They just haven't told us. So Stellar, XLM, and Ripple, XRP, the price will be dictated by the IMF because it will have global money value. Do you understand? And it's only appropriate that the IMF is going to dictate the price because they set the price for all currencies globally. And yes, they will still be around.
But are they going to be run by the same people?
Of course not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all done. Listen, I think 2018, a majority of them were taken out in order for this. I don't believe they could have the conflict while they were having the rollout. So they had to do something in order to. And remember, Trump told us, we won't tell you when we attack, but attack we will. And he used the art of Sun Tzu, which means they started at the top and went from the bloodlines down. Because remember, in his 7 months later, he went on his, you mentioned to earlier, Stu, the World Retribution Tour.
Capitulation.
Yeah, that one. And the one question I had in the whole thing was, why did these presidents give up the country so quickly? Why would they just like, yeah, okay, no problem? I believe they were scared to death because of what Trump did before he went to visit them, which was, and from what I understand from SG and Scott McKay, their first meeting together, they basically talked about, it was kind of like this. Well, what did you hear, Scott? And he was like, well, what did you hear at SG? And he said, oh, I think I heard the same thing you did. And he goes, well, what did you hear? And he said, well, I heard that the military took out all the elites on December 24th, 2016.
Yes,
before
Christmas Eve.
Yes. Yeah. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, that's what. And I had that feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you recall, the in the day, like what everyone was saying was that they were told we cannot fail. There is no, we cannot fail. There's no ifs, ands, or buts to this. This is a no-fail mission. So that begs the question, by the time the capitulation tour happened, and just think about this logically, it was theatrical. It was very theatrical. So what does that tell us? It's done. It's done before the tour even happened, and now we just needed to look that way.
To add to that comment, do you remember that Q post we used to get? It was a Q with all the military in it, and we could see JFK, right? But really what you should have been looking at is what was behind it. And it was basically the marquee for the military theatrical division. That's what they're showing you. Did you ever notice that?
Was that Virginia, wasn't it?
Actually, I don't think it was, because the way the Q is points right at the gold reserve. What is it? Fort Knox.
Fort Knox.
So that Q where they stood, if you followed the point of the Q, the line, it goes right to Fort Knox. You can't make this up.
It's so brilliant. But you'll still talk to people about this. I still talk about, it's like, oh, that's just a coincidence. Oh, I listen, I understand. I do. On the one hand, if your business and your livelihood revolves around doing income taxes, or you're a tax attorney, like, we're not even going to judge any of that. That's what they do. That's what people, right? And I understand, but I talk to people in the normie world, and they're like, until I hear it, until it's official. And I'm like, well, doesn't that it's official depend on who you're listening to? Like, I guess if you want to hear it official on Fox, or you want to hear, right? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they're still so stuck in the matrix. And I've been saying for years, listen, I remember the first time I went to an attorneys and accountants mixer, because like I work with a lot, I've worked a lot with them, as a coach, right? Helping people going through divorce and retirement and stuff. And I told one of the guy was like in his 60s, and I was like, said something about tax season. I was like, well, the IRS is going away anyway, and we're not going to have to pay taxes. He looked at me like I was the biggest idiot he ever saw in his whole, like this little peon who doesn't know what's going on. And I just said it to be, annoying, but because I knew they wouldn't buy it, but like, right. And so now, but the little clues, the breadcrumbs, like, oh yeah, should we get rid of, Trump saying at his rally, should we get rid of the IRS? And, DeSantis down in Florida talking about getting rid of property taxes. And I haven't talked to a lot of those same people, but I wonder what they're thinking. I'm sure they're not, but the point is, where, and I get that all the time from people until I hear it. Okay, but I'm hearing it. So you're saying you have to hear it on a particular thing. I don't know, maybe a law has to be official. They get a notice. All these people get notices. And the new, I heard that the new IRS rules came out. So I sit in these meetings sometimes, right? And I'm there to just network, to get clients and help people. And I have to sit there. Like I text people the whole time. Please shoot me, give me a gun. I have to get out of here. You don't know what they're talking about. Different timeline.
I find that these professionals that have worked in these, like being a lawyer and an accountant, they've put up with they've lived this lie their whole life. Do you understand? So that's been their livelihood. So now
yes.
you go to an attorney and you say, tell me what does the bar stand for? They cannot even tell you. They don't know what it means. And they've passed the bar. Right. They don't have God love them.
They don't know the difference between, they never thought about what the difference between admiralty and common law is. They don't understand the functionality of the court, like all the reasons for everything, why the robe, why that you have to go in front and pass the bar, what, like all these little things and so many more. They don't understand language. They know how to use it. They know how to say certain things. They know the Latin phrases and all that stuff, but they don't actually stop and think about it. And they're, in most cases, the most asleep because they're much more indoctrinated.
Yeah.
When you come inside the fence of the courtroom, they open the gate up for you to go in there and walk up there and talk to the judge. As soon as you go through that, you're dead. Did you know that?
You're dead. That's why people that teach this say, do never pass that. Never go through.
Right.
You're walking onto the deck of the ship there, aren't you?
That's right.
No, you're actually in the water.
Oh, you're in the water in that?
Right. Yes, you're dead. No matter what you do or what you say at that point right there, they can't even use that. It's worthless because you're treated as a dead person. I just went through that, by the way. And I did. And I proudly walked right into their water as a dead person and said, yes.
Well, think about, we're really digressing here into the law, but, I went, like, you and I are both divorced, right, Chuck? Right. So recently, think about it. You marry someone. There's like, I never thought about this. Like, you just do it. You're like, oh, we're getting married. We get, the church, and I have the venue, and I'm getting my dress. We have to get the marriage license. Then you just go right past it. It's just like another thing on the checklist, right? So now I don't want to be married I don't want to be with this person anymore, but I'm in a contract with the state and can't get unmarried unless I do this through the state.
It's ridiculous.
But who's thinking that? Like, who's thinking that? Even the church. That's a whole other subject we won't even get into with, annulments and all this other nonsense. But, like, I will never in my life. People say, "Oh, would you get married again?" I was like, "Yeah, I would marry someone. I would marry someone in a commitment ceremony that we are committing ourselves to spend our lives together and honor each other. Not with the church, not with the state. I don't need any partners in my marriage. It's me and the other person, right? Isn't that how the Native Americans did it?
And God.
And God. Well, yeah. I mean, that goes without saying. You're making this commitment to each other with God. So I need to have a license. Is that so they could trade me a little, like, depending? It increases my value when they trade
It
me.
does. That's what it was all about. It really was. Yeah.
All these licenses.
Yeah. See,
So
they
angering.
rate us based on everything we do. We get our driver's license, we finish high school, we get our college degree, we get married. What that shows them is he's got to make more money to pay for his family. He's married now, and so we become more wealthier in their little, sick.
So that raises a really interesting question. What happens to I'm saying this rhetorically because we're hoping, but what's going to happen with all that? Where are all these billions of dollars that we're all worth? Aside from the fact that the other day, I don't know if I was telling Stu, I might have been going off on this the other day. I get my mortgage, my death grip statement, and it says, there's like $230 more. I'm like, what is going on? I call up. I have a feeling I know what's going on, but I want to hear. And I say to the girl, she goes, I just want you to know you're on a recorded line. She was very sweet, polite, nice demeanor. I said, honey, I'm recorded. Good. Cause I'm going to be talking to them for like the next few minutes. So just like, don't, take offense. And I just was like, so now it went up because of this, the school tax and this tax and my escrow and all this other nonsense. I'm like, first of all, this is completely illegal. You people were paid the second I got this mortgage. And then you have the nerve to collect the money from me and charge me interest. And this girl on the other end of the line must have been like, this woman's out of her mind because this is where she's working, right? But the truth is, there's all this money that we've been traded. So, do you have any insight or knowledge or information or theories on how all of us that have had a birth certificate, like what's going to happen with all that money?
I don't know where all that money's going to go, but I know that we're going to get the 4 R's in this transfer of wealth.
For the 4 R's.
What's that? The 4 R's. I'd have to look those up again, but there's 4 R's. But they're basically, we're going to get a bunch of money just given back to us, depending on your age. If you're under 61 years old, you'll be in the payments section, which basically those people are going to get 11-year payments. These prices were actually, when we won the court case in 1993, we've talked about this. In the newspapers, they were publishing the actual payouts that they were going to give us back then, which was 39, 49, and 59 million. 24
Each?
to 29 to 43 billion, or 24 to 43, 44 to 60, and 61 and above. So the two first groups were going to get payouts monthly for 11 years. So they're going to give you 39 million. But now a gentleman by the name of Dave XRP Lyon, do you know him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
We don't hear from him much anymore, do we?
Yeah, no, I was going to go quiet on that one because Mel, has said a lot of things that he has known about what he talks about and his legitimacy. Let's put it that way.
Well, I know that he was an accountant in 1994, and he went to the initial meeting in which they discussed all of this. So I don't know how long he stayed in that realm as far as being involved in this whole thing. I think he was more shut up, kind of turned off because.
Oh.
Right. And I've asked Mel some specific questions regarding to two people that were supposed to be at that the Summit 1, which really was
the Quantum Summit.
Right. And I asked him, I said, why didn't Juan and Dave XRP Lion come? And he said, not sure. And I said to him, they didn't come here because there are certain people that would know who they are. Let's transpire another whole year and a half later, after I made that comment to him, Mel came to me a couple weeks back and said, Juan told me why he didn't come to the first one, because he knew there were people in there. He said that we're on the dark side or the bad side, but
Sure.
yeah, I don't think that was really the reason. I just think it was that people would have known who he was.
Yeah.
I did. I swear
Yeah.
I said that to Mel 2 years ago. Yeah.
Interesting.
Could be.
Yeah.
And maybe, like, I know Mel has talked about XRP Line in the capacity of XRP, and he's had some negative things to say, and of course that's an area that is not my expertise. You know what I mean? So I can't really
Yeah.
I don't know as much as, let's say, you or Mel, so I can't make a judgment. But if part of what he was talking about, not just XRP per se, but also some of these other things that took place, 30 years ago or 35 years ago in relation to the financial and where we stand, it makes sense that they weren't able to say certain things, right? I mean, they're given
Well, what happened was the 9/11 thing. They were planning on it happening, and they put the
Right.
money into Building 7. They did all that, and we know what happened there. I believe the
Yeah.
money that was shown in the movie Die Hard Vengeance in 2024
Yeah.
with the I believe that was the money.
Yeah.
That was the real money.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's many people that have said that to me, asked me that question. They don't even need to ask me because I know what they're going to ask me, and I say yes. That was the gold. It was. Yeah.
Interesting what
Little
you just
Tom, right?
saying
What's
there
that?
about. That's interesting what you're just saying there about, the money being taken off us and stuff like that, because there used to be, I don't know if I can find it now, there used to be a website, it was sort of IMEI or something like that you could put your national insurance number in from this country, and it came up with all the companies that your person was being traded on. I
You
remember
used to be able to do it in treasury.gov. I have it still on my saved favorites. Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it that the different companies.
Oh yeah, all over the world. Yeah.
We are being
Right.
used as collateral, aren't we?
Yeah.
For betting.
So can you still access it, Stu?
You know what? I'll send you the link.
I could find it might be different in my country because I just did a quick search, and I couldn't. You need to put your national insurance number in this country, but I shall have a find. I'm sure I've got it saved somewhere. I've written it down, so I'll have a look at that later.
Well, hold on, I'm going to bring it up right now. I've got it from back in 2022 when we were learning all about this. I was like, I got to have that.
So, how pissed off were you guys when I first learned about all that? I was so angry. Like, I couldn't get away from my anger. I couldn't control it for a while. Just feeling so victimized. I hate to use that word, but just like the awareness. And then you start thinking, what I started thinking about was all these people that can't make ends meet and can't put a roof over their head and can't get food. Like, it's so beyond awful.
Well, they hate us. They hated us. Useless eaters.
Yeah. And Kissinger, right? If you go back to, I think it was 1971, right? He says how they're going to get rid of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
There it is. It's treasurydirect.gov. That's where you put it in, and you can see where you're being traded all over the world for America.
And what do you put in? Your social number?
your QSIP number on your birth certificate.
Got it.
So you see where I put? In fact, I'll do this. I'll put this in your channel so you have it.
Can you see the comment section? Oh, we've got. Oh, that. Oh, we've got our guest back again.
Am I there?
Yeah, I'm not even looking at them comments. Can you see the private chat on here?
Let me go back to it.
The right hand of your StreamYard screen. Have you got private chat there?
Yeah, right there. I see it. To the right, yes, I see it. Chat with everyone.
Yeah, in the studio, in the private one.
Chat.
Get a link
All right,
in there.
Let me put it in there. There you go.
Great.
I'll put that on screen. Oh, hang on. I can't put that on the screen. Hold up, let me copy that. Let's see if I can place it.
Elisa, how much time have we spent doing this? You know?
Years. I'll be honest, there's a lot of things in my life, not to cut you off, that I think about how much time I spent on them and say, how come I spent so much time on that? I never in a million years feel that way about this journey.
Neither do I.
It's not enough time. I don't have enough time. You know, I'm like, oh, I need to pull 3 more hours here or a couple. I was telling Stu this morning, like, there's so many things, even with Q, like I want to go back and dig and go further. And I was saying, I got to find like 3 hours to just sit and do this because it's freed us.
Did you ever try to learn the Q clock thing?
Yeah, well, I've looked into it a lot and stuff, really, but I let other people decode all that sort of stuff.
Me too. That's how I am. Yeah.
You know, you've got these. Me and Elisa were talking about, you know, should we do some decodes and stuff? But there's so many people out there doing it that devote their whole of their time to doing it. You know, like Absent Stormy, they're going through the Q drops and comms 3 times a week now. You've got Rambo and all these lot going into it. You've got Matrix Q Code Breaker, and if you've seen him on any of these shows and stuff, even Rambo and that lot, they're all sitting there going, "Geezer, you need to be studied." Do you know what I mean? Because the decodes he's coming out with, but they, you know, and he does a 6.5 hour, 7 hour show.
It's crazy.
So let these people smash out an amazing decode and post a 7-minute clip of it, and then I'll share that. Yeah.
I also put the Looney thing in there too into the channel.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, great. That's perfect. Do we want to? I mean, we don't really. Do you have any people in the chat? I don't even know. I'm looking at my Rumble.
The person in the chat, is that one that was commenting yesterday?
Friend?
Ron. Yeah.
I mean, I actually have on my Rumble, not a lot, but I have 4 people watching. So maybe we put it in the group chat in the comments. So anybody who wants that.
There it is. You can grab it.
That link, Chuck. I'm gonna go when I go and edit this. I'm gonna put that in the title, obviously, and put the link under in the comments in the description. Anyway,
perfect.
Everyone.
The Loonies will thank us.
Yeah. That's something to really, really go through, isn't it? Right.
Yeah,
what else do you want to talk about? We've been on now in 44 minutes. How do you feel now, Chuck?
I've got one at 3. I got a 3 o'clock today, so I'm gonna have to pop out. Yeah, with Mel.
Oh, you've got to shoot.
Wait, what'd you say?
We're gonna try to get a crypto one going at 3 o'clock today with a couple of the other guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
excellent. Supposed to anyway.
Excellent.
Is that going to be a regular thing?
I hope so. I think so.
Yeah, it sounds really cool.
Oh, well, that'd be good. I look forward to watching that. Right, well, you can come back on here anytime, Chuck, and we can go for anything else because I love talking about things like that. So interesting.
It was a good little group. It was today. There was a lot of information brought out of here, wasn't there?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
definitely. Well, how much longer have you got, Chuck?
Well, I was probably going to try to get in there and get on the around 2:45, but we can hang for a little while. Show us that video.
Oh, okay.
Oh
well,
yeah, we have just enough time. That one's so cool with the who was that? The volunteers?
I was going to put it as an outro, but what I won't do, I'll just play it not as an outro, so we can have a little discussion about it after. All right, but this is 7.5 minutes. Okay.
So tell me, out of everything you've ever done, what's the craziest experience you've ever had?
That's easy. Earth.
Earth? You went to Earth?
I did.
No way. You were a human?
I was.
Wow. Are the stories about Earth true? Were they really trapped on Earth?
Some were. I know because I was one of the volunteers.
Wait a second. You volunteered to go to Earth?
I did. I had to. I had family trapped on Earth.
But how could you get trapped on Earth?
You had to be there to understand. On Earth, you wouldn't remember anything.
What do you mean you wouldn't remember anything?
I mean, you would have no memory of anything. You wouldn't even remember existing before Earth.
What? How is that possible?
It was designed that way. It was brilliant. To dive as deeply as possible into such ignorance, such darkness, and still find your way back to remembering who you were, that took true mastery.
Wow. I still can't believe you went to Earth. Tell me more.
Well, Earth had its own set of laws that everyone agreed to experience, like gravity. What goes up must come down, like linear time. Day is followed by night.
Time? What's time?
You know how when we think of something it manifests instantly? Well, on Earth there was a delay. The delay is what made Earth so difficult.
Interesting. Time. So tell me more.
Before going to Earth, you would choose your family, whether you wanted to be male or female, what race you wanted to be, the location on the planet, things like that.
Oh, so you could choose your own character.
Exactly. You would enter the Earth as a baby and be completely dependent on others to teach you the rules. But since nobody could remember the rules, they made up their own rules, based on fear and giving your power away to others.
That doesn't sound like much fun.
It wasn't for everyone.
What'd you do while portions of you were on Earth?
I watched them. It was pretty funny.
What was so funny?
Here were these magnificent beings, playing the most unique and cutting-edge experience in the universe, and they were clueless. I tried to guide them as much as possible.
Wait a second. You could communicate with them?
Yes, but they couldn't hear me. I would show them synchronicities, or send them impulses to help guide them, but they couldn't see the signs.
Why not?
They didn't trust themselves.
So is that why they sent out a call for help?
Exactly.
Is that when you went?
No, I didn't go until later. First volunteers, they had it the worst.
What do you mean, had it the worst?
Well, they killed them.
What?
They killed the volunteers.
They killed them?
Those on Earth couldn't understand what the volunteers were telling them. The idea that they were equal to the volunteers scared them.
What were they telling them?
Common sense stuff like, all the answers you seek are inside you. Everything I can do, you can do and more.
So they killed them?
And then they twisted the volunteers' message and created even more fear.
What do you mean more fear?
Like the message, God is inside you, was turned into, you are separate from God. The message, all the answers you seek are inside you, was twisted into, you can't trust yourself.
And they believed it?
It was out of control.
How could they believe that?
You had to be there to understand. Did you know they actually believed that they were the only intelligent life in the universe?
Now that's funny.
Pretty crazy, I know.
So then what happened?
The designers knew Earth was going to enter a section of the galaxy that humans had never experienced before. A section filled with a frequency that might be able to reconnect the human's DNA.
What was wrong with their DNA?
It didn't work anymore. The thing is, their DNA was how they connected with their higher self.
So that's why your incarnations couldn't hear you.
Exactly. But there was a catch with the new plan. Only those incarnated on Earth could tune in to these new frequencies.
Oh, so they needed more volunteers.
Yes, but this time they were taking no chances. To pull this off, they needed millions in the physical form, wired and ready to attune to these frequencies.
Are these the 21st century humans that all the stories are about?
Yep, we volunteered from every corner of the universe to help the humans wake up.
What did the volunteers have to do once they got there?
We had to wake ourselves up, attune to these frequencies, and spread them to the rest of the planet.
That sounds impossible.
Most of those watching the Earth experiment didn't think we could pull it off.
So, what happened when you got to Earth?
Once on Earth, we were taught the same fear-based beliefs that had been handed down for eons. We lived just like everyone else, totally clueless to who we were and what was getting ready to happen. But as soon as the Earth entered this cloud of frequencies, we started to question everything. And one by one, we started to wake up.
So the plan was working.
It was. The more we trusted ourselves, the quicker we reconnected. And the faster we started to remember what was happening. And since we were spread out evenly all around the planet's frequency began to rise quickly.
What happened when the planet's frequency began to rise?
The humans' experience of time began speeding up. They started manifesting their beliefs faster and faster. Those consumed with fear created even more fear, and eventually Earth just spun out of control.
What do you mean, spun out of control?
These low-frequency beliefs that had controlled the human experience for eons could no longer exist, so they began to self-destruct, and the world fell into complete chaos.
That sounds terrifying.
It was for those living in fear. But for us volunteers, we all knew it was the end of the old energy and the beginning of the new.
So then what happened?
A tipping point was reached in our awakening, and we created a new Earth.
A new Earth? What happened to the old Earth?
It continued on, allowing those who could not let go of their fears to play out their lessons. But for us, we created a new Earth that matched our higher frequency. And as easy as that, all the fear-based beliefs simply fell away. In an instant, we remembered who we were. We knew we were all connected, and we stopped hurting each other. We started respecting each other, started loving each other. We took back our power to create, and we created a new Earth without fear.
Wow, so the legends are true. What an incredible experience that must have been. Nice work.
Thanks.
I can't watch that without welling up.
No, I was so welled up. I was like, these guys are going to think I'm crazy. I was so welled up.
Yeah, I was watching you, and I thought you were going, which was making me go more.
But it's like whoever wrote that, and they wrote it so eloquently and so beautiful. It's just so sad.
Yeah.
It's funny, that actually came out about 3 years ago.
Yes, I did see it, but I didn't realize. So those two little girls sitting there.
But it was only a part of it. They only gave us a little piece. That was the whole thing.
It was definitely up to the part where they say they didn't know how to manifest or something like that.
Correct.
That kind of stopped.
And it was odd. It was an odd video back in the day. Yeah. But we know now, don't we?
We do. I've got so many videos like that saved and things. So it's, you know.
There's one they put out that was basically shows, I think, what it's going to be like for us to receive the money. And what they did is they showed us, it was, there's two girls sitting on a park bench, and one girl's there and another girl comes and sits beside her, and she tells her, wait, just wait, hold on. And she keeps telling her, be patient, hold on. And then what happens is everybody's phone starts ringing, and they all start answering the phone. And I think it's when we're going to hear the money has been sent to us.
Yeah, I might have seen that. Maybe you can source that, Chuck.
It was. Yeah, I'll look. I'll try to find it. Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Well, guys, I got to scoot. So
thanks so much for coming on today.
Listen, it was great. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it was
me too, mate. Me too. Brilliant. Well, thanks for coming on. And I'll end that now. Have a lovely rest of the day, you two. And
Thank you, everybody.
have a nice rest of your day, Chuck. And Elisa, I'll see you tomorrow. All right.
I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye, Chuck.
Bye, guys.
We waffle
Thank
on.
you.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.